So it's 1 o'clock. Today is January 23rd, and we will open the regular trustee meeting, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have an agenda before us. Are there any changes or modifications, additions we need to make? If not, we'll accept the motion to approve the agenda.
So moved to approve the agenda for January 23rd as presented.
Second.
Ms. Graff.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Prince.
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the general ledger report in the amount of $287,494.01 for the January 18th, 2017 payroll.
Second.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes.
Mr. Prince.
Yes.
Move to accept the payment listing report in the amount of $169,909.93 for January 30th, 17 warrants.
Second.
Ms. Graff.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Prince.
In the amount of $169,909.93.
Yes.
No, how about if I just do not to exceed 170?
That's fine too.
And so did you say yes, Mr. Prince?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes held January 9th, 2017.
I'll second that. I want to make an amendment to that motion. Under the trustee time, I move to have that trustee time as verbatim minutes from that meeting on January 9th.
We have a motion to discuss, but then,
I'm making an amendment to the motion.
okay, but I don't do verbatim minutes, you know that? so-
Correct.
We're not asking for verbatim minutes.
We
but
just
this-
want it for
yeah,
that particular
this
section.
specifically does not.
I'm not gonna do verbatim, it's just not.
Then-
Oh, no, if you would like, I'm more than happy with that.
We're not asking for verbatim minutes, we're asking for this section to be, for the record to clearly reflect what I stated. So I can simply say, let the record state, and then it has to state what I said.
No, it doesn't, but we can sit here
It's
and argue
correct,
all day.
I do understand from,
If I ask for something to be on the record, or if any trustee asks for something to be on the record, and we want that to be in the history.
We cannot dictate what she puts in her minutes verbatim, but if you make a motion, she would have to put the language of the motion in the minutes. And that would be the best way to get any particular information that you
Okay.
wanted into
do
the
you
motion.
have that amount from last time?
I mean, ultimately, I think it's silly because I did respond back very timely and asked that that section
Yes.
be included verbatim, only that section. And I asked in a follow-up email to please send it so we can review it. And that's the only section, but if we have to do it through a motion, then we'll do it through a motion.
Can I ask a
That's fine.
question? Why?
Sure.
Why do you,
Why do you not want it in there?
I don't care,
Well,
but
then
it's
can
not,
you please put it in there?
We want the
I'm not gonna
amount
do the-
reflected as he,
I'm
mentioned
happy to
at
do
the
that,
meeting.
then
Because I think
let's go back and
taxpayers,
do.
right, because, no, I'm just asking on this one, because I think at the end of the day, what happens is, very few people unfortunately come to our meetings, as you can see. Very few people come to or watch the YouTube videos.
Mhm.
So the purpose of minutes, as I read it in the statute, is that it essentially communicates to future generations why boards made decisions they made. So beyond the dissatisfaction I have with our minutes in many cases, in this case, I asked specifically that it be reflected because I did state the specific amount that we have spent on a frivolous lawsuit.
Which is
And-
an opinion, it has nothing to do
Right.
with.
but he did state that
But it is
he
my
that he
opinion.
wanted the number
Right.
in there, and
So
he stated the
we
number.
spent a ridiculous amount of money on a lawsuit. And I asked the fiscal officer to drop that mandamus request. After that meeting, you actually responded and kept the process moving forward. So at the end of the day, however we have to do it, I want this to reflect what I said.
Then I will go
We'll
back.
do it in a motion,
And
that's
that's
fine.
fine, but I'll go back and I'll put every lawsuit that we've had in the last 10 years and how much we spent on those lawsuits.
That's what you want,
That would
that's
be
fine
great.
too.
If
And-
that's justification for what
Yeah.
you're doing, then
Mr.
I hope
Kreitz.
you feel good about that.
You can keep making it personal. This
It's
is
not
not
personal.
personal, so.
It's not personal,
You
you're right.
standing here and bullying me
It's
doesn't
not
help your
bullying.
cause though.
You know, claiming it's
So-
bullying doesn't make it true, I'm sorry. It
Claiming
doesn't.
that you've spent so much money doesn't make it true either. I don't have
How
the
is it not
bills.
fact? You
I don't have the
bills.
bills.
It was
You-
21,000
you paid the
plus
bills.
dollars. I responded as soon as I got the minutes, which was
I
almost
haven't
when you
checked.
sent them, and I asked that that amount be put in. I didn't ask for verbatim when she backward replied that I said that this was in the amount, and it was 21,000 plus. Please put that in there. And then
It
Mr.
feels
Kretz
like you're
came back
just-
later.
It just feels like
As-
you're separating just my lawsuit out. How much did you spend on Deb White's lawsuit? How much was the payout for Deb White?
I don't
If you
know,
want
but-
that,
but
we
why
will
did
find
she-
that out and
Why
put
did
it
she
in.
file the lawsuit?
Yeah.
How did she know that we hired someone before the board knew we hired someone?
Obviously, I
How-
don't
how
know
did
part
she
of
know?
this. I'm asking you the question on how much you spent. You wanna go talk money.
Okay.
It's-
Did you
Essentially,
find out from
you're
your-
attempting to create a distraction. All I asked for is to include the amount in here, and that
Yes.
we asked you to drop the mandamus.
And I
That's
put
it.
that in
You
there.
put the
That's all
second
you
part.
put in.
So, however we have to get the first part in there, we will get it in there.
As I understand it, from the conference a couple of years ago, this question was asked, that if something is not in the minutes, and they are the minutes as written by the fiscal office, or whoever writes for the fiscal office, that if we wanted something specific and we made a motion to include that specifically, then that had to be honored. Now, unless that has changed from, I think it was 2 years ago, I haven't heard the change, and that was my request, that by motion, I am making a motion that that section, as we have requested, be verbatim. Now, if verbatim is too hard, I can modify it to say it should definitely include the amount that was mentioned at the meeting. I don't remember the exact amount,
I don't think verbatim is that difficult. It would take a matter of 15 seconds.
but
So happy you did.
just on that little section, Mr. Kress's statement on the trustee meeting, that's all I'm asking to be in it as my amendment. And I understand that that's an accurate way of doing it. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Kress?
was actually correct, Jeff.
Okay, well, that's my motion to amend. I don't know if there's a second to that.
I think we need to vote no on the first motion and then submit a new motion. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so there's no second, please.
We'll vote no on this first motion, and then we will not approve these, and we'll
No, no,
do a new
no,
motion.
the problem with that, Mr. Kress, is if we do not approve the minutes, those minutes can stand.
Sure, no different than they do.
And
for
that's
the
why
first
I
one.
want the amendment, so that the correction is in the minutes that we then approve.
And there's one meeting from last year, we need to do the same thing.
The 28th, yes.
So you have to vote on the amendment and then vote on the initial
But,
motion.
Mr. Roberts, will you second my
I'll
amendment?
second the amendment.
Then we have to vote
You
on.
made a motion that the section, the trustee section include the amount that was stated at the last trustee meeting.
Correct, that would be sufficient, as long as the amount was in there as requested, stated by, yes, by Mr.
Well, I think there
Kress.
were the 2 points, the amount and then the,
The mandamus
the
being
request for the
dropped,
mandamus.
but that's already in there.
is it, I haven't seen it.
Did you second it?
Yes.
Yes, he
Yeah.
seconded it.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
And then we have to vote on the amended. No.
And now you're voting on the minutes.
Now we're voting on the
You're voting
minutes
on the
as
minutes.
amended with
As
that,
amended.
with the amendment into it, yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
We're gonna wait to,
We won't sign it until we get it. Okay, that's exhausting. At this time, we'll ask any citizens desiring to speak. And seeing none, we'll move, we have no old business, no new business. We'll move on to administrator and police services levy.
Thank you, Board. First item on the agenda is a discussion on the police service levy. As you passed at your last meeting, was to send an evaluation off to the county treasurer, or excuse me, county auditor. And then this meeting, depending on the outcome of the police levy on the recount, we would have passed a levy and ballot language to put it on the ballot in May. The good news is the police levy did pass. Was certified by the Board of Elections and sent to the court. The court has yet to rule on the matter, but the certification is that the levy is passed, so there's no need to move forward with a resolution. There's no need to put it on the ballot in May.
Okay. And so the timeline for when the court will finalize the process?
Wednesday, we're hoping.
Hopefully Wednesday.
And then that has to, the court will make their ruling, and then that has to go to the state.
Secretary of State.
And because this was a recount, there is no mandatory recount.
Correct.
Okay, because of the narrow margin. Okay. Very good. And I think it's important to state that the purpose of this was to ensure that those that are impacted by the levy are the votes that we actually counted. And so, as some of the community, but most of the community may not be aware of, the question came into when we had portions of jurisdictions or precincts that were outside of the taxing authority of Beavercreek Township. They may have resided at some point in Beavercreek Township's boundaries, but they were not going to be taxed by this levy. And the Board of Elections mistakenly put this issue on those ballots. And so those folks were able to cast a yes or no ballot when it should never have appeared on the ballot. Thank you, and pass our appreciation on to the Board of Elections for their cooperation and assistance in working with us to correct the matter.
We'll definitely do that. Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 6 of your packet. Is the-
Before we get there, in our packet is a client, whatever payroll. Are these just the checks that go out to other jurisdictions via our pay, because our payroll people live in Cedarville, or people live in someplace else, and
Yeah, those are.
taxes are paid to other places?
That's correct. School districts.
This is the first time we've gotten this particular report that I remember, so I figured what it was, and that's what
That's
it's.
because our payrolls are off of your trustee meetings now. They used to be on the same trustee.
Yeah, but we
meetings.
never got this report.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to see it, that we see how we support other jurisdictions, but I was just curious did I understand it correctly?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. The next item is the Sheriff's Office report. That starts on page 6. Are there any questions?
I have none.
No?
Thank you, Board. By the time the packet was sent out, our Deputy Fire Chief and our HR Manager was late Thursday evening doing about 20 interviews of potential firefighters. So I did hand out a bi-weekly report or semi-monthly report to each of you to review. If you have any questions. And it's noted in there, as of this report, they conducted 20 interviews for the full-time firefighter positions. I believe they finish up tomorrow.
We have a good cadre from which to choose, I hope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 16 is the zoning semi-monthly report. Are there any questions? And this has all updated information from the beginning of the year and completion of 2016 as well.
I have none. Thank you for the efforts for last year, and it looks like this year is at least on par with most anticipated. So it's presuming economy and blending stays the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Board, yes, we're anticipating another busy year, just with some projects that we know are on the horizon, and some other developers that we met with just last week. So,
It looks like there's a new VW dealership coming in. How large a parcel do they have?
The Jermaine VW owns 3 parcels. The 2 that were, one parcel was the Heidi Collision Center. The parcel to the south had the blue house on it, which is now gone. And the parcel to the east of that is also in the Jermaine ownership. I don't know what the plans are for that building. They haven't begun demolition on it, but they may well do so. The only wrinkle so far is in figuring out the water system down there. So contractor called me today and said, county said the water was turned off, but the basement's full of water. It's because they didn't get county water. It's a private water system. So there are wrinkles like that involved, but they're cranking it in. And I have had a meeting with their attorney. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Also, you should know that I just got a call this morning from an engineer for the next section of Stonehill Village. That we'll be setting up a meeting to take a look at that section. That's the Gordon White section, 45 acres just south of their Liberty Hill 2.
Has MI moved forward, at least with the township on the 60 acres across yet, or are they still?
I'm sorry?
Has MI Homes moved forward on the 60 acres?
The
across
last I heard, let's see, I talked with their engineer, and he said it was still under negotiation. It hadn't closed yet, but he fully expected it to do so, and said that they were chugging ahead with plans, with the preliminary layout for approximately 60 acres.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions, Mr. Hamlin?
Good job, Ed.
IT?
thank you, Board, handed out a project update, as of Friday, listing the hours that Back to Business IT has worked on the project, and unfortunately, we had to use 1.5 hours of their assistance to help us with an issue that we couldn't solve in-house. So,
Yeah, so we interpret this correctly, so project hours is gonna be essentially the building the new server
Right.
system, and then any service hours would be support that we call for third-party support while we're transitioning.
That's right. So just the project bill we will not receive a bill till we sign off on the rebuild after we do a beta test, and then they'll send us a bill for that. They will send us a bill probably at the end of the month for service hours.
Sure.
But the project won't be done until we officially accept the new rebuild.
Good.
That was what, 140 hours?
Right.
Yeah, not to exceed 140 hours.
Very good.
And I just want to say, I want to thank the fire chief and Chief Easter as well. They have picked up the slack, and they are dealing with staff phone calls and dealing with the tickets through SharePoint. So,
Yeah, one comment I'll make is that the detailed log essentially of hours, what they worked on and the accrual for the project is helpful. Not necessarily this meeting, but as we progress, it would be nice to see a percentage complete.
sure.
So that we don't get to 90 hours but find out we're only 30% complete, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So, and it's, the hope obviously is that we get to 90 hours and we're 90% complete. But just a measure of that would be helpful,
Yep. No, well,
some kind of graph. Thank you.
next item starts on page 20 of your packet. First, in the road department is a purchase request for radiator replacement on engine 64. Mr. Parks here to answer any questions.
I move to approve purchase request 08289 to All American Fire Equipment for a completed radiator in the amount of $3,650, and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second.
Mr. Rock?
Yes, I was gonna ask a question.
Sorry.
This has been done, or it will be done?
This, we number our fourth radiator, so now every frontline engine has a new one. It actually came in this morning. The guys are currently in the process of disassembling, reassembling. Our goal is to have it back on the road by noon tomorrow. So,
Good.
Mr. Rock?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Next item is the then and now purchase for ladder 61. That starts on page 20 and the motion's on page 21.
Could you describe, I should remember, but I don't, what a then and now is? If we've done it and now we're gonna pay for it?
that is correct.
We did it because we had to have it done, and we did it.
Right, and this was one of those ongoing repairs. We went in with the assumption it was the hard head again. It was, they replaced it, found out the cause of the failure was something else. So when we went to pick it up, they hadn't finalized the bill yet. We got the bill after the fact. They did discount, didn't charge us for one hard head, and discounted the labor immensely to get us down to this number. But we needed to get it back in service instead of running a reserve.
Okay. Good, Ms. Kraft?
Yep.
Okay. Make a motion to approve then and now purchase request 08290 to Ohio Cat for the repairs to ladder 61 emission system in the amount of $3,717.04, and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Rock?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. On page 21, we do have a modification to our road mileage. There's two name changes on the streets. We do have a form there for you to fill out, and a motion to accept it on page 21.
What page was it on?
Page 21.
I move to accept the 2016 Township Highway System Mileage Certification as presented. And I was looking for the total.
41.450.
I think it went up to
Should be what it
42.
was.
It was 42, so-
42.447.
42.447 miles.
I'll second that.
Ms. Rock?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
And just to kind of follow up on that, we have already accepted 1.1 miles in 17. I'm anticipating another 1.5, 2 miles by the end of the year. We will accept as new sections come on.
Mr. Park, as I mentioned to you before, graphics make things, the visible modifications, make it much easier to read and see. And I was hoping that at some point you could go year by year and put in, if you have 5 years, 10 years, the mileages to show how the township is growing. And that would be an ongoing one, so that we could see that each year, that many more miles that we,
I actually think we have them back to 1980.
Yeah. So the last graph that we put out, we'll just make sure when we put it in the agenda, we'll update the chart to show you the growth of the
and I
township.
think that's important to have online also, so people see that we are growing, there are that many more miles to take care of. And my purpose, I guess, is twofold. Road levies are only 5-year levies. They come up on a regular basis every 2.5 years because we have a couple. If we have an ongoing visual that we are increasing what is necessary, the job to be done, and we have not increased necessarily the number of people to do it, it's just something that, on an ongoing basis, that you see that there's more work done by the same number of people, and maybe that make it more understood when we do come to the levy time.
We-
It's something that I think is,
We can also add it to the annual report as well.
Thank you.
And on page 33 is the semi-monthly or bi-monthly report. Are there any questions?
And it seems like we have less hours, but the cost isn't, if I extrapolate out, trying to do percentages, it seems like we're spending more for what we,
I need a copy.
There's a couple factors there.
and I figured there was, I just couldn't figure it out.
Out of those 7 events, 5 of them have been ice storms.
Uh-huh.
Ice, which we eat through the material quicker. Plus, it depends on the overtime, whether it was regular time, overtime, or double time rates. As you can tell, the double time rates are only 10 hours short of what we had all of last year, because some of these are coming on the weekends. And we're 50% of that overtime rate for this year compared.
Right, but we're still 200 hours, 210 hours less.
Right, and it's regular hours, because we're over 100 hours.
Yeah, total hours.
Total hours.
It just seemed like it should have been about half. Should be, looks like we're about half where we were last year, but we've spent about 7,000 more than that.
Yeah, but if you look at salt tonnage,
Is that the difference?
that's part of it, and we are already with our geomelt, right where we were all of last year.
Yep. That's what,
So those 2 factors alone, and you figure in overtime, that's where that price is.
yeah, and I don't have the behind the scene numbers, I just was trying to extrapolate what was there, so that makes sense. Thank you.
Well,
So it has to have inclement weather during a weekday. So there's regularity.
I would be more than happy with
At
that.
9 o'clock in the morning.
9 and quit at 2.
Two.
So we're clean up and get out.
Yes. We have to make a resolution to that.
Need the heated streets and flip the switch.
That would work even better.
Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 35, I'm sorry, the semi-monthly report for the fire department. Are there any questions?
Have we had any fires this, I saw the entrance.
There was a
door.
couple, but were they significant or besides the little run?
No, knocking on wood, Willow Run was our last major fire. Obviously, we have fireballs throughout the year. I don't think we've had any that actually qualify as a structure fire, although we've had fire-type calls. So we went through a little bit, but smoke scares, fires that were extinguished upon our arrival, or prior to arrival, things like that have occurred, but yeah, nothing substantial since we.
What was the, how was the feedback from the city as far as your initial meeting regarding standards of cover?
I thought it was extremely positive. Had a lot of good discussion. It was about 2 hours we had scheduled for one and ended up taking 2. There was a lot of detailed discussion, a lot of questions about not only the information of what was on the paper, but what it pertains to the future. So what we're looking forward to doing. Yeah, it was a lot more detailed and thorough than I was anticipating. So actually, neat from my perspective.
Yeah, they were very impressed that we were, that the fire department's been able to, even with the state funding cuts, and other adjustments that we've made, either in contract or, healthcare changes, they were very impressed that we were able to maintain that 10-year funding plan. And then with some of the changes that we are currently making, or under that current 10-year funding plan. So, Chief is, modifying some things that came out of the meeting for the report for City Council, and tentatively is scheduled to attend our work session next month in February to give a presentation to the council.
Good.
I want to thank you for another excellent recognition and awards dinner. And I'm impressed with the number of young firefighters. They're not all young. The number of firefighters and retirees who have come out and seem to be extremely supportive, positive about the department and what they're doing. So it's good to see them all. Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to have you all there, and it was our best turnout, I believe, to date, so it was very exciting.
Yeah, wonderful, it was a wonderful event, well planned, and kudos to everyone involved.
That would all be Michelle Virgin.
Yeah, well, kudos to Michelle, and also I wanna say, thank you to Ms. Graff, because there was a moment during that, dinner that was amazing. She had asked every current firefighter she hired to stand up, she asked anyone that she had retired to stand up, and she asked anyone that she had promoted to stand up. And I believe that every single person stood up from the fire department. That was amazing. And I just want to say thank you for all the years you've served this community.
I thought that's what would happen, but I wasn't absolutely sure. They are just a wonderful, wonderful group of individuals, delightful department, and so supportive of the community over and above what they do as their job. That is a pleasure to have, be in charge of the administration. To have a department as excellent as the one that we do have. Thank you all, and thank them.
With regards to the administration of Narcan,
Yes, I was gonna say something too.
so is there, as we go into 2017, whatever we've learned from, and I understand that you're not in the prevention business, so you're in the
Reactionary
you're in the
for this
life-saving
particular
business. So, but as far as the work, or the coordination between what we do on the EMS side and the sheriff side, this kind of goes back to the sheriff's report a little bit, and so I apologize, but, so, do we communicate the distribution of our administration of Narcan to the Beavercreek police and to the sheriff? Do we share that information with them, or are they always aware of it?
The city gets a copy, essentially, a version of the semi-monthly report, but we don't have a direct, we don't send them a report of how many Narcan administrations straight to the PD or to the sheriff's department.
So I guess my question, let me rephrase it, is the Beavercreek police or sheriff's office involved whenever we administer? Or are there
I
times
would
that we
say
administer?
probably 90% of the time.
Okay.
Any call that has an apparent drug relation to it will have an officer. There are some calls that are strictly medical where we will administer Narcan that probably are not drug related, but they're, say, unconscious unknown or something like that, where the protocol would call for the administration would be given, and there may not be a law enforcement presence. But for the ones that are the overdose that we're thinking of right now, the opioid epidemic type issues, they're almost always there, and often they're there before we are, just in the way the responses work, because sometimes they'll have to go in and make sure it's seen as secure and safe before our crews come in.
My concern was to make sure that the known hotspots, we all know them.
Yes, that I'm fairly certain
So
that
those,
that is.
so the question was to make sure that we are at least information sharing, so that if there are other pockets that are developing
Mhm.
or areas of concern, that at least they're aware of it, and it's just a cross-sharing of information.
Yeah, I'm confident that happens, because of the types of calls, we operate with them very closely on those types of incidents. And like I said, that's probably 90 to 95% of the administrations. There's going to be a few that would fall outside.
Is there, and then the second follow-up on that is, looking at 2017 beyond, is there anything that, and we have a fantastic program with CPR and AED, training in the schools, I know you talked about incorporating or integrating stuff, and lead into that as well. Is there anything in the schools as far as, almost go back to the scared straight days, where, when they, as far as showing young people the effects of opioid addiction?
Nothing from our regular public education channels. So law enforcement through the DARE program, I believe they address it, but we don't address it through our fire prevention.
Just curious if there's anything we can do proactive, because we're reacting, we're responding to something that's gone too far. The sheriff and the police are reacting, obviously, to the situation's gone too far. So is there anything that as a community, anyone can do on the proactive side as far as
I
education?
can ask if there's any programs out there, but I've not heard of any. Those usually get a lot of fanfare when they're launched through, say, NFPA or the EMS Council, things like that. I don't recall.
The
do
state
that.
would be.
Do the principal offices, or do nurses in the school, number one, is there a nurse at every school? And number two,
There is.
Do they have Narcan to administer themselves, or do they have to call?
They have certain medications that they will dispense, but I do not believe that they have Narcan.
You know, they just got EpiPens.
Yeah.
I don't recall. But I will be meeting with one of the nurses here shortly, so I'll ask the question, but I don't believe so.
Just curious.
Well, I'm noticing from your chart that most of them, the calls that you indicated, are residential.
A great number of them are, yes.
So it's not necessarily at some sort of a.
But that's why,
cluster.
again, that's kind of why I was curious, though, if police or sheriff were involved when you're going to a residential, if it's just a family member calling and saying someone's unconscious.
If there's any sort of indication that it might be a drug overdose, then yes, a law enforcement officer is sent, whether it's city or township. And again, we usually allow them to go in first to make sure the scene is secure. And I'd say that's probably, again, that's gonna be the 90 percentile range for the types of calls that we're talking about here.
I'm just, again, just searching for something you could do proactive versus.
Yeah, I don't know of anything, but I can ask and we'll see if we can dig something up.
Okay. Thank you.
In the numbers, it looked like the numbers were up this past couple, is that because it's 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's the very short amount of time we're into the year. We're gonna have a lot of fluctuation, then as we get more numbers and go through the year, it'll modulate back down, probably pretty close to last year.
Okay, I guess you're gonna change your bi-weekly to semi-monthly.
Yes, I'm going
That's
to try to
okay,
capture
but
all of those.
It did look to me that with the medical, it was 176. Was that just for the same 2-week
Same,
period? Because that's
yeah.
higher than,
Yeah, everything on the charts will remain the 2 weeks, so you're getting that even. So even if there's 3 weeks
Okay.
between meetings, the report for the bi-weekly will still be that 2 weeks, so you can compare apples to apples.
Okay.
The year-to-dates will then pull in the additional week, the missed week or the off week.
but it, so it looks to me like it was a much busier 2-week period than
Yeah,
other
it's
times.
been a little busy, and we'll probably have, again, periods of calm that'll drop that number back down. At least I hope we don't stay this way through the entire rest of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Board, that's all I have.
Ms. Frick? Mr. Roberts? Ms. Frick?
I'd like to ask Mr. Zaharia to expound on what the city is thinking about as far as the parks. Because your report was excellent, you got it done early yesterday. But you said that the city council chose not to go ahead with the unified park district, but said something about taking over Rotary Park.
A question from council to staff, from my understanding, I'm getting this secondhand through city staff, and I do have a meeting this week with the city manager to discuss this very topic. A question came up is whether the township trustees would be open to the idea of turning over entire operations of Rotary Park to the city of Beavercreek. And if the answer would be yes, then the city would evaluate potential, what that cost would be for the city to cover 100% of the cost. So right now, the operating is 50-50 between the city and the township, and 100% of capital comes from the township under the current agreement. So if the board said yes, we're move forward with an idea like that, then staff will have to evaluate whether or not in 19 that there would need to be an increase in their current park levy to cover the cost of the Rotary Park.
Didn't we already receive from them the number that would be $135,000?
That was for just for management. Yeah, and that include Phillips Park as well.
Okay, so they're indicating they already do the management, 100% of management for
Correct.
Rotary. So the only thing they are wanting to add to that would be the capital.
capital and the rest of our operating.
Yeah.
They would, we.
Well, they know that number.
That's
right?
correct.
They send us the bill, so they have the number of the cost. The only thing, and they actually
Well, I
have the
would think
cost
they
of
would know
the,
that our piece too
have
is
improvement.
what they work together.
Well, what they would have to evaluate in 19 is whether or not they can continue and what kind of things are needed at Rotary Park to move forward with that. So
my question to them would be, would they like the ownership?
I think that would be part of the question they ask.
And
So I'm,
as long as they want to take over the entirety and the total cost, but we do know, because of what they've done, the park is in the city. I don't know if that's in their thought process or not.
could be.
But see, it is a drain on the township general fund to do any of the capital improvements that we know would be desirable in the park. We know that the driveway, the parking thing, and parking need to be repaved. We know that the shelter house needs to be repaired. We know that the playground equipment is old, really needs to be taken down and replaced. And we do not necessarily have sufficient funds to do it. So if they're saying that they would take over the entirety and then charge us for all of that, then we
No.
say now we don't have it anyway?
No, I think it would be, the township would be out of the Rotary Park business, is the impression I'm getting. And the city would take over, and potentially even ownership of.
Would they be willing to do that?
I don't know, so this is, the staff reported to me on Tuesday what the outcome of the city advance was. So I'm hearing it from city staff.
Okay.
When I hear it from the city manager, who sent the letter, and I forwarded the letter to the board.
Yeah, well,
Is, there's two issues here, is what is the thought process of that idea? And second of all, what do we do from 18 and 19 until, you know, because we still have to negotiate now the Rotary agreement.
Right.
We extended it for, under the current terms for 17, but it will expire in 17 based on the notice we gave. So we would have to negotiate something. If we move forward with the Rotary agreement, we would have to negotiate the terms for potentially the 18 and 19, depending on when the levy.
Correct me where I'm wrong though, but when, one of the reasons the park agreement got held up last year was, Ms. Farrell and Ms. McConroy did a good job of presenting to us, but one of the hiccups, at least from my perspective, was that they were gonna provide services in those parks that we had traditionally done with Mr. Parks, Parks in one sentence. The roads department had provided that labor in the past, and we had a discussion about what would we do with that surplus time, and we said we had a lot of projects that we needed to tend to, which I agree, we need to tend to all of that whole list that you provided. So, but as a result of that, the 130-some thousand that they had proposed included them maintaining the parks.
that was all of
Not
ours.
capital. That was all of the parks.
It was,
It was, I'm sorry, Rotary, Phillips.
it was all
Victory.
of the stuff we currently do, which is community, and victory, the mowing and maintenance. There was,
And the management of it. So that all essentially phone calls for a park reservation went to one phone number.
That's right.
So based on that, if that was 135 for all of the parks, then presumably one park would be significantly less. Now Rotary is the lion's share, obviously.
Right.
And one park would be something less than that. And so, to piggyback on this graph, so they're proposing that we have a 2-year agreement until they can essentially go out for a levy. But in that 2 years, for a fee, they provide comprehensive maintenance, management, and capital improvements to the park.
That was the 19 proposal.
No, that would be at
No,
19,
now, that's
yeah.
what
we're-
Yeah, no, what I'm talking now is what staff has to do now is go back to the original Rotary Park agreement and start from scratch on that. So start from the current agreement and talk about the terms for the next year or two, if the board moves forward with an idea of turning the entire operations over to the city of Riverview Park, including potentially ownership. I don't have a lot of details on what was discussed at the advance. I just know based on the phone calls that were given Tuesday morning that there will be a letter being sent by the city manager, just to give us a heads up that the park consolidation at least is off the table. Yeah.
Given that, that does seem somewhat open it up for us to talk to other potential partners.
Correct.
It does.
Okay, and so, if we haven't already, I think it'd be prudent for us to reach out to the county.
I've already talked to the county administrator about this topic, and going to be sitting down now with staff, he's open to the idea. So, once the county administrator says he's open to the idea, then we'll get all the staff between the Green County Park and Trails, and then our staff to talk about the future parks in Beavercreek Township, in the unincorporated area.
My concern is 2019 is going to be a fairly tough year to put anything new on for the city. The county already has mechanisms in place. And the challenge obviously is to come up with the best thing for the residents of Beavercreek and Beavercreek Township and county, because it's not just folks here, but we do fund it. So
And there are 2 county parks within the unincorporated area now.
it's not so much it's not a competitive, and it hopefully doesn't come off that way, it's not a competitive bidding process. It's more a matter of who's the best suited partner for this over a 10-year period, not a 2-year period.
And they have significant park. They have the Russ Park, they have the Carhall Park.
They're all symbols.
And they actually take care of the bike path, Maxwell Park, they actually maintain it's along the bike path. So that agreement with them is already in place, it's just, if we get to that next step.
An extension of that.
And I think Rotary is gonna become the hard part for the county. I can't swear to that, but it's that unknown going into an active park. They have Hobson, but it's not nearly as active as Rotary, which is many activities.
So I'll have more details on what really council's looking for and asking the trustees, but that was just from staff to us to give us a heads up, and that came up.
Wanted clarification, I think that wasn't always completely clear. Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Aaron's?
I have our inventory resolution. Annual inventory return bin every
Okay.
year.
Move to resolve, whereas the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township, Green County, State of Ohio, move for the approval of the following. Whereas the Ohio Revised Code, Section 505.04, states the Board of Township Trustees shall make an inventory on the second Monday of January each year of all the materials, machineries, tools, and other township supplies in its possession. The inventory shall be a public record and shall be made in duplicate. 1 copy shall be fixed with the fiscal officer of the board and 1 copy with the county engineer. Whereas the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township is hereby define materials, machinery, tools, and other supplies as non-expendable and which have a cost of at least $500 as a single unit. Whereas the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township is hereby requests that anything owned by Beavercreek Township that fits the definition above be included in the Beavercreek Township inventory list.
Second.
Ms. Graf?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Kretz?
Yes.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township, Green County, Ohio favorably pass the above resolution.
Thank you. This time, if there's nothing else from the board, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1 to consider the employment, dismissal, and compensation of a public employee, and Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Graf?
Yes.
Mr. Kretz?
Yes.
out of executive session, 4:36 p.m.
Second.
Ms. Graff.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
The Township Administrator, Public Safety Director's employment contract, specifically Section 3D related to performance goals, bonus opportunities, and the January 31st, 2017 deadline for review of the calendar year 2016 goals, payment for the calendar year 2016 goals, and establishment of 2017 goals. Any bonus amount will be included in payroll for the last week of January, which will be paid out on February 1st, 2017. With that being said, I make a motion for the approval of the payment to the Township Administrator, Public Safety Director for 2016 goals as follows. Goal number 1. Township Administrator, Public Safety Director satisfactorily achieved the objectives outlined in goal number 1. Present a final compensation plan for approval to the Board of Trustees no later than June 30th, 2016, and therefore a performance bonus of $2,000 shall be authorized by the Board of Trustees. It's important to note that we're going to do discussion? Okay. Goal number 2. The Township Administrator, Public Safety Director satisfactorily achieved the objectives outlined in Goal 2 to review, update, and present a final version of all current job descriptions in the Township to the Board of Trustees by June 30th, 2016, and therefore a performance bonus of $2,000 shall be authorized by the Board of Trustees. Goal number 3. The Township Administrator, Public Safety Director satisfactorily achieved the objectives outlined in Goal 3 to present a township-wide reorganization plan that achieves a balanced budget for fiscal year 2017 to the Board of Trustees by June 30th, 2016, and therefore a performance bonus of $2,000 shall be authorized by the Board of Trustees. Goal number 4. The Township Administrator, Public Safety Director satisfactorily achieved the objectives outlined in goal number 4. To fully complete the Novak and Dr. Grice report recommendations 35, 29, 30, 34, 37, and HR by September 30th, 2016, and therefore a performance bonus of $2,000 shall be authorized by the Board of Trustees. And finally, goal number 5, the Township Administrator, Public Safety Director partially achieved the objective outlined in goal number 5, and therefore a partial performance bonus shall be authorized of $1,000 by the Board of Township Trustees.
Second.
What was number 5 for? You said what they were for, all the other ones.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Shared service agreements.
Yeah.
For shared.
A shared service agreement that result in a net savings of not less than $25,000 per year.
I'll just put shared service. Okay, thank you. And you seconded it, right?
Yes, I seconded it.
So
We wanted
it's
some discussion.
Yes,
Okay.
discussion.
So I think it's important to point out on goals 1, 2, and 3 that while they were presented by June 30th, so on goal number 1, it was presented to the board on June 30th, but the final compensation plan was approved July 18th. That delay was not caused by or affected by the township administrator. On goal number 2, it was presented by June 30th. The final job descriptions were approved on November 7th, 2016. And again, that delay was not.
That's by the board rather
Right,
than the
it was
township.
not by the township administrator. Goal number 3 was presented to the township, to the board by the 30th. But township-wide reorganization was approved July 18th, 2016. Same situation, it was the board essentially took that time to review and finalize. Goal number 4 was presented on October 6th, 2016 at a special meeting, but not approved until November 14th. And again, that time was taken by the board. And finally, on number 5, there were a couple things that went into the board's decision on this one as far as a partial payment. And one of those was the fact that the township did present opportunities to the city of Beavercreek. We spent a significant amount of time and resources of staff to develop opportunities, and at the end of the day, the city elected not to move forward. In some cases, in another case, we had an internal issue with the park agreement that was presented that delayed it. So we consciously made the decision not to move forward with that agreement. So, and it's, while we believe as a board that we want to continue to have agreements with other jurisdictions or other groups outside of the township, it's difficult sometimes, and obviously it's impossible at other times, to convince that other party to agree with us to move forward. So we can make a goal, and sometimes we can do all of our work, but either timing or circumstances or personalities will impact our ability to execute. Anybody else?
Well said.
You said it all.
If you can call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes.
Mr. Kretz.
Yes.
And at the same time, since we have discussed the 2016 goals, we're going to present the 2017 goals for our Township Administrator, Public Safety Director. Again, pursuant to the employment contract with the Township Administrator, Public Safety Director, specifically Section 3D, related to performance goals, bonus opportunities for the calendar year 2017. The board hereby establishes the following goals for the Township Administrator, Public Safety Director for 2017. Goal 1. The Township Administrator, Public Safety Director to present a zoning resolution update to the board on or before November 30th, 2017, to include specific updates regarding mining, the highway overlay district, marijuana cultivation, processing, distribution and sales, agritourism, adult entertainment, and the permitted use section as it relates to business and industrial uses. Goal number 2.
Can I stop you?
Sure.
That's a lot.
This one I can send you.
That would be
If that's
fantastic.
what's typed out. So.
Thank you.
Goal number 2, so I can read faster. The Township Administrative Public Safety Director to present interdepartment service level agreements to the board on or before July 31st, 2017, for the pre-established cost allocation method for both the fire department and road department. Goal number 3, the Township Administrative Public Safety Director to present a TIF agreement with Valley Springs Farms to the board on or before July 31st, 2017. Goal number 4, the Township Administrative Public Safety Director to negotiate and execute a long-term agreement with the Greene County Sheriff on or before June 30th, 2017. Goal number 5, Township Administrative Public Safety Director complete the successful implementation of the new IT network, update the township internal service request protocol and policies, and implement a service agreement with Back to Business that includes measured usage reporting on or before April 10th, 2017.
Second.
Did you make that motion?
Yes.
If I
That was my
didn't write
motion.
it down, then it
Yeah.
was. Okay, I'm sorry then.
But
Miss, okay,
My motion was to,
that's fine, I will do that. Ms. Graff.
yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Kretz.
Yes. I can email that to you.
Thank you.
And I might have to correct the
Yeah.
capitalization or whatever. So I'll,
Okay, then, I make a motion to authorize a 3% bonus in lieu of a merit increase for the road department staff that have reached their maximum cap salary range or step increase per section 5 of the compensation reward program policy. A 3% bonus in lieu of a merit increase shall be paid on February 1st, 2017.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Kretz?
Yes. Is there any other business to come before the board?
Is there a special meeting for the- No? I
Seeing
move to
none.
adjourn at 4:46.
Second.
Ms. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Kretz?
Yes. Yes.